my name is Deborah Rodriguez, and I'm an architectural conservator with Architectural Preservation Services. That's a division of Worcester Eisenbrand. We're located in Baltimore, Maryland, and we were fortunate enough to be awarded the project to perform masonry repairs here at the Hanover Historic County Courthouse. There are several different ways to view and evaluate a historic building. And our main concern while we were performing our masonry repairs was to preserve the historic building material as well as any character-defining features. Now, this is important because if the features that give the building its unique character, its visual character, are not recognized and preserved, then essential aspects of the building can be damaged or even lost during the process of change. The courthouse, what gives this building its unique visual character is certainly the brickwork. You have a variety of colors and shades, and as well as the glazed headers are very unique. And also the repointing work, which is the grapevine joint, that's very distinctive. And while we were doing our work, we wanted to make sure to preserve these features and not have our own work detract from it in any way. And that may seem like a simple and obvious thing to do, but that's not always the case. As historic preservationists, our aim is to repair rather than replace. That said, we did perform some minimal replacement, but this was limited to areas where the material, and in this case it was just a few brick units, were too damaged to reinstall back into the wall. And so we've established that the brick is a unique feature of this building. And so our main concern here was to find replacement brick that matched the original in terms of color, texture, and size. And we were fortunate to find new hand-molded bricks that comes in a variety of colors and shades, and obviously you see that here in the building, as well as it has the irregularities of the historic brick, and so it blended in quite nicely with the existing work. And we did some replacement. Most of our replacement was limited to the base of the building, and so you see we did a little bit here. The brickwork here was very damaged, and so we needed to replace that. So we removed both deteriorated brick and mortar. In the case of the brick, that was fairly straightforward because essentially, first of all, it was just a few units, and they were pretty much loose and could be removed by hand. In the case of the mortar, that required a little bit more work. Now, severely deteriorated mortar was, which is usually crumbly and powdery, that was removed with hand tools. Hard Portland cement mortar required the use of a grinder fitted with a diamond blade. In both cases, however, the work was performed by our highly skilled masons. I've seen many instances where the removal of Portland cement mortar using a grinder has left unintentional cuts in the historic masonry. Hand tools as well can cause damage. For example, if you use a chisel that's wider than the mortar joint, that can damage the adjacent masonry, so you want to avoid doing that. I did discuss our replacement brick, but where we sourced our replacement brick which was essentially new hand-molded brick. But I should also mention that another good source of replacement brick is through architectural salvage companies that use that reclaim brick from demolished historic structures. Now, in terms of the repointing mortar, before installing our new mortar into the mortar joints, we took samples of the historic mortar for analysis because we wanted to match the original or the historic mortar in terms of texture, color, and strength. Now, once we were able to establish a suitable match, the difficulty, the greatest challenge was then in blending our repointing work with the existing wall. And this is due mainly to the fact that there are several different repointing campaigns in the wall. Obviously, the building dates to the mid-18th century, and over the years it's been repointed several times. And so you have a variety of colors of the mortar, as well as tooling techniques to achieve the grapevine joint. And the fact that our own repointing does not stand out, the fact that you can't see it, means that we achieved some success, because that was the goal, not to have it stand out. Now here in this wall, we repointed around this area. Here it looks a little bit darker, but this is because the wall is wet right now, so it does have looks a little bit darker than it should be. But if you look up a little bit higher, you see a repointing that the mortar is a little bit whiter, as well as the tooling to achieve the grapevine joint is a little bit deeper. And we didn't want to match that. Our aim was more to match what we see here. And unfortunately, here again you have the repointing with a very gray Portland cement mortar, which does not match at all with the historic repointing. Now, in these locations, we decided not to remove the repointing mortar, the cement mortar, although it's not the most appropriate, because, first of all, it's stable, and also we were afraid of harming the historic masonry. As you see, it goes over the brick, and any attempt to remove it could cause potential harm to the masonry. So we left it in place, and right now our recommendations is to monitor it. It is important to allow mortars to cure slowly after it's installed in the wall, and this is best achieved by misting it periodically with water, and also protecting it with tarps and burlap from adverse conditions such as the sun, wind, or rain. Rapid drying can have a detrimental effect on the mortar. Rapid drying, which is caused by excessive heat from the sun or wind, because it can lead to excessive shrinkage. And cold temperatures as well can be harmful, because that can lead to a very crumbly and friable mortar. And in both of these cases, you have repointing work that is visually unappealing, but more important is the fact that it creates the opportunity for water to enter into the wall, which is essentially what we're trying to prevent. There are three general ways to clean a masonry building: water, chemical, and abrasive. Now, for a historic masonry building, we typically select the gentlest means possible, but one that will also achieve an acceptable level of cleanliness. A brand new appearance is not always appropriate for older buildings, and also quite difficult to achieve. Now, in the case of the courthouse, which wasn't heavily soiled despite its age, we selected water washing supplemented with a mild detergent. We also did use a biocide, but this was limited to areas which exhibited biological growth, and that was located along the base of the building, and that's where we had most of the damage. We also used low pressure water while we were washing because power washing or water blasting would remove not only the soiling but also take with it some of the surface of the material, especially the delicate glazing of the headers. So we would never want to do power washing on this building. The fact that our work doesn't stand out means that we did a good job. I mean, that might seem like an odd thing to say, but I have to say it is more difficult to achieve than one thinks. At the end of our project, after we finished all our on-site work, I've been writing and will be completing a treatment report which details all the work we completed and will have information on all the products that were used. And that will be available for, I guess, a limited period of time online, and if it's not online, it can be accessed through the county or through Hanover County, the Department of Planning.